Dodie, when I say sustainability, what do you think?
I think about renewable energy, recycling, and good behavior. Sustainability includes how we do business ethically.
Right, and it's very complicated as a topic with lots of misconceptions, and of course biopharma is starting to change the way it thinks about this and the way it sets its targets around the topic.
We know that thanks to the findings from our 2024 Global Biopharma Sustainability Review. And that is a body of research which looked at the state of play and where there is room for improvement. Really good stuff in this.
Exactly, but dear listener, we will be switching up the format a little today because we are going to listen along with you to a discussion between two real industry experts on sustainability. Our friend and colleague and all-round fantastic person, Ryan Walker.
Excellent person.
And he is Cytiva's Senior Director of Sustainability, and Aude Arkham, Global Head of Eco-Design and Circular Economy at Sanofi, no less.
Sustainability and eco-design are what matters on today's episode of Discovery Matters, brought to you by Cytiva.
Hello and welcome. My name is Ryan Walker, and when I am not in my garden, either planting trees or flowers or doing whatever I can to get my hands dirty, I'm the Senior Director of Sustainability at Cytiva. We have the great privilege of meeting with suppliers and customers alike, and it's clear that top in their minds is sustainability. We are facing similar problems and challenges, but also similar opportunities to make people and planet thrive. We've just published the 2024 Global Biopharma Sustainability Review. Now that was made up of meeting with and interviewing 800 top executives and leaders across the biopharma industry across 18 different countries. Now, one of those leaders we got to meet with was Aude Arkham. Aude is the Global Head of Eco-Design and Circular Economy at Sanofi. Aude, welcome. Now, before we jump into any questions, I'm going to ask you the toughest question of all, which is you've got an awesome title, but probably a lot of people online aren't familiar with, or maybe they've just heard the term, but they don't really fully understand what eco-design or circular economy means. So for our audience, can you define what those mean?
Sanofi is a big pharma company. Because of this size, because of this responsibility, we cannot conceive a healthy patient without a healthy planet. And my team is working to reduce the environmental impact of our activity. So actually, I have two teams, one in circularity. We work to reduce, reuse, and recycle our post-manufacturing waste and also our post-consumer waste. And my second team is working precisely on eco-design, which is with research and development, manufacturing, and all the functions of the company to reduce the environmental impact of our medicines all along the value chain, meaning from the raw material extraction to the end of life, going through the manufacturing steps, the packaging, the devices, and the use phase with the patient. This is eco-design, and we don't only look at carbon, but as the European requirement for the PEF is proposing, we look at 16 indicators, like, yes, carbon emissions, but also water scarcity. We look at mineral resource depletion, biodiversity, etc.
If you're newer to sustainability, what Aude said with reduce, reuse, recycle, write that down. It can be simply based down to those three R's if you're thinking about how you can start at your organization. Aude, you all have done so much at Sanofi across eco-design and circular economy. What strides have you all made across your organization? And maybe a follow-on is, what are you most proud of personally?
Sanofi believes in eco-design, and we invest in a brilliant team that is growing. And this is actually recruiting is already a powerful signal. Sanofi is building the bricks of the solid eco-design approach in pharma. So first, we have built a strong methodological guide to measure and to improve our environmental footprint. We already had more than 5,000 training connections on our learning platform. So people are clearly increasing their ownership and their willingness on eco-design. We are very proud of that. We performed already 17 life cycle assessments all over our portfolio, and through this LCA, we identified already more than 80 improvement levels, meaning we really want to reduce our environmental footprint, and we know now how to do because we made these measures.
So let's interject here for a moment. For those that don't know what life cycle assessments are, these assessments really calculate the total environmental impact of products or services throughout the entirety of their life cycle, from beginning to their end of use.
And sometimes past their end of use. So Aude Arkham's experience fills me with optimism, but we know from our review that 63% of biopharma leaders see sustainability as imperative to business growth. Even more said that weak collaboration across the value chain is a barrier. So what other challenges does the industry face?
Eco-design is an incredible ambition within our industry, but there are a lot of challenges that come with it. And some of those challenges are the fact that we don't have broadly accepted, broadly established industry standards. There are more and more governmental regulations and requirements out there. And then there's data, right? There's data that underpins all of this, not just eco-design, but sustainability, and the challenges around getting accurate data, timely data that you can actually do something with. So, in fact, our review showed that 68% of those leaders have one challenge, and that is getting access to actionable data. So with that said, are you facing those challenges as well at Sanofi?
My first issue is data. My second issue is data. My third issue is data. It's not only for me, for you. It's, I believe, the same for all kinds of projects, all kinds of industries. Today, we all have the same issue, and we significantly invest to clean data, improve data quality and data gathering and automatization, etc., of course. Because the first step before working on sustainability levels is to measure. This is the very first step. The objective is really to have a state-of-the-art digital asset where we can put all our data from a pharma perspective that we can potentially, ideally one day, share with our suppliers or our customers and potentially the entire value chain all together to have the same data and to compare. Life cycle assessment is indeed something very technical, science-based, very precise. Behind eco-design, you have potentially sustainable environmental claims. You can't claim anything without being science-based behind that. In this case, absolutely, we need to clean the data. It's exactly what we are trying to do. Cleaning so that potentially we can welcome generative AI in the future.
Data is the challenge. And if we can work together across our industry, which we're going to talk about collaboration, but work together across our industry to bring better data to sustainability, that is the key to everything we will see here. But there's another key to eco-design, and that's innovation. I mean, you cannot have eco-design and innovation operating independently of each other. In fact, 71% of survey respondents said that their suppliers are not good enough at bringing sustainability initiatives to them. That's a blow, right? Now, why is that? Well, I think our industry, as we all know, is extremely complex. You've got, once again, regulations. You've got design in. You've got supply chain challenges. You've got the fact that we've got quality that needs to make sure that everything is coming together for the good of the patient. Innovation is critical, but we as a supplier find it challenging in balancing how much eco-design we can bring to a Sanofi or to our customers, balancing with what you all can adopt.
Then the question for Aude is, how do you balance the whole idea of eco-design and bringing the best, the greatest, the fastest innovation and avoiding innovation being too aggressive for customers to adopt?
I believe it's important to work together on that. One solution we found was to work with developed in 2024 Innovation Forum with our providers so that we can orient and foment the innovations from you guys, because you have wonderful talent to develop innovations. And then we validate the innovations we believe that are making sense and that will be easily activable, and so that we can hand in hand work on them to apply them and to make the use case and to make them operational.
we had the great privilege at Cytiva to be part of your all's innovation forum. And it was a great opportunity for, once again, you as a customer or a license holder, and we as suppliers to work together to submit ideas that can bring you eco-design to market faster. Speaking of moving faster, we've got to dig into something that is near and dear to a lot of people, maybe scary to other people, exciting for others. That's the whole thing around artificial intelligence, AI, machine learning, whatever we want to call it. It is us being in an innovation industry and a technology industry. We can choose to either adopt this, to move forward with it, or to run away from it. And so how are you viewing AI within Sanofi? How do you view that within eco-design?
Focusing on eco-design, we believe it's a strong accelerator. We really want to push some use case to use generative AI to model and to make the proxy of the life cycle assessment and to ease and boost our analysis. We said data was our biggest concern, and Gen AI can help us if you have data quality. That's why I was saying a bit earlier, we need to clean that. But yes, AI has already proven its added value on many aspects of the company, and I'm sure an environment.
You and I were talking one time, Aude, and I was also talking with my team as well, that if you got clean data, good data, AI is a beautiful thing. If you've got horrible data, then AI just shows you faster that you have horrible data, right? I'm so happy that you're underpinning this, because I think so often in our industry right now, we're focused on getting the latest product carbon footprints or the latest life cycle assessments or whatever, when in reality, if we don't have clean, good, robust data as a baseline, nothing else really can happen. In fact, you said it before, right? You've got to understand the hot spots, and the hot spots can only be found if you know where that data is. Now we're going to go to probably our favorite topic, which is around collaboration. In the sustainability review, you will see a number of data points that came through loud and clear that demonstrated that collaboration is absolutely critical across our industry to be successful. Of those 800 biopharma executives, 70% of them that were within the leadership group said that they have set shared collaboration targets and goals with their suppliers, 70%. Whereas if you look at the late adopters, only 43% of those have set shared goals and targets with their suppliers. So there's a vast disparity when you look at the leaders versus late adopters in the sustainability review as to how they're collaborating. So for those that are newer to sustainability, newer to eco-design, maybe they're in their first stage, but they're challenged, what advice would you give to all of us across the industry on how we can collaborate better?
It's difficult. The sector is not easy to manage in its entire complexity. So if I would give an advice to them, it's about focusing on the highest impact, because the task is huge and we need to prioritize. So when you're in front of this big mountain, you have to be very methodologic and start small, go big, be proud of all the investment you're making in this area, because reducing your environmental hotspot is an investment you can be proud of. It's, it's like being responsible when you buy organic food. It's more expensive, but it's very important from a citizen perspective. And this is an investment for a sustainable planet. So we do our part.
It's also interesting that there are going to be aspects of sustainability that are going to cost us more as an industry, but arguably it's the right thing to do, right? We will not have a biopharma industry if we do not have a planet to live on. So we've got to do the right thing. And I'll also say, maybe to dovetail off of you, that there's a quote that one of my colleagues says that I love, which is, what's good for the planet is also good for business. And what we find so often, it's great for our business as well, because to your point of the reduce, reuse, recycle, when we're reducing, we're typically saving on costs, on resources, on time, on those precious things that we need to operate Cytiva to bring and accelerate and advance therapeutics. So on that idea of collaboration, we are part of an industry group called Bioforum. And I love it because it allows for a collaboration amongst customers, Sanofi, et cetera, and then the suppliers, Cytiva, et cetera. And we were able to work on the industry's biggest challenges around sustainability, whether it be around eco-design, around product transparency, around scope 3 emissions, which makes up 80 to 95% of all emissions. And that then fosters outside collaborations with Sanofi and Cytiva, et cetera. Are there industry groups or industry organizations that you all are part of?
We work with different kinds of just with our peers, the same traditional ones, the big pharmas, and we work on the same issues and the same problematic. So it's very constructive to collaborate with our peers. And we are not competitors anymore when it's about the planet. So that's really great because you can share a lot of planet concerns. But you will tell me, what does it mean if you are not working with your suppliers? Then potentially it will never be activable. And that's true. We need to work with different kinds of actors and all along the value chain. So for instance, you have this bioforum, which is a wonderful opportunity. You have PSCI also, Pharma Supply Chain Initiative, which gathers more than 60 companies, if I'm not wrong. I also contribute to IHI. It's the Innovative Health Initiative, which is gathering also academics. And this is very important to embark also these actors. Within Sanofi, we also have a yearly Planet Care Challenge. This year, we have precisely invited suppliers, but also academics, NGOs to propose innovations, and we help financing them. So the idea is really to be in this co-creation, which will enable to maximize the benefit of this initiative. We really believe this is the right model, the collaboration.
There is a professor at an academic institute that I won't name, but who said a quote I thought was beautiful, which was, the only competitor that we share is climate change. We can look at each other and be in a rat race to the first to do X, or we can all work together on shared opportunities and shared challenges for the good of people and the good of planet. You mentioned your all's Innovation Accelerator. We have a similar one as well that we run. This year, we did one called Together for Zero, and it was focused on eco-design and Scope 3 emissions. And we funded 5 projects to go forward to try to bring about real change within the industry. So I love when we can share best practices like this across. We've got a very diverse audience that are going to be listening to this. And guaranteed there's going to be some that the word eco-design was brand new. And they are just now starting their sustainability journey. Maybe they haven't even started yet. Maybe this will be the trigger. Can you help them understand what they can do to ramp up their efforts around collaboration, what they can do more? What advice would you give them, Aude?
The most important is the purpose. Remember why you're doing that. Having your purpose is enabling you to wake up in the morning and to keep fighting, even if it's difficult, even if the collaboration is not always there, even if you have so many roadblocks and headwinds during your journey. It's very complex. It's also a question of prioritization because it will be huge and you need to keep looking in the right direction. So start small, go big, and go for gold as we are in the Olympics. This is my advice, to be honest, because I'm not saying it's easy, even for us, and it's a challenge, but with the purpose and the will to make it happen and being proud of what you're doing, I'm sure you will succeed. We will succeed together.
Remember your purpose. I think that's a great tip, that when you wake up in the morning, remember what we're here for, that we serve a greater purpose within our industry for human health. And we serve a greater purpose as well to make sure that we've got a planet that we thrive in and our industries and future generations thrive for years to come.
So this is fantastic. We heard from Ryan Walker at Cytiva and Aude Arkham from Sanofi, really underscoring the complexity of eco-design and the circular economy in biopharma and biopharmaceuticals. If you want to find the 2024 sustainability review that Ryan talked about, you can find it in our show notes or head to cytiva.com/sustainability review. You may even be able to just search sustainability review Cytiva in your favorite search engine.
Have a look, have a dig through. And if you have comments on it, just let us know. You can reach either Connor or myself. There are a lot of challenges, whether that be data, industry standards, collaboration, but there are also opportunities galore in sustainability.
And of course, we clearly understand that the future of human health is so clearly tied to sustainability, and the industry that enables the future of human health is rightly leaning in to enable that in the way that it manufactures these life-changing medicines.
100%.
So, how about what else we learned this week, Dodie?
Every day is a school day. So the planet got me thinking about weather and about earthquakes, actually. And in the Ring of Fire around the Pacific Ocean, there was an earthquake today, the day we're recording.
Not so long ago.
Exactly. In Papua New Guinea. And this month, there was a rather large earthquake in Japan. And Russia, California, there are earthquakes every day, small ones, bigger ones, noteworthy, especially around that Ring of Fire.
And I guess what's interesting is the difference in resilience amongst those different geographies and communities and countries with respect to that, right?
Well, there was a study published, of course, on science.org, because that's where I always go to learn things every day, about what is it that's actually happening in an earthquake that might be a silver lining, or better yet, a gold lining. Because earthquakes are nature's way, let's say, of shaking its piggy bank. And when the ground is doing its shaky, it's causing water in fault lines to vaporize really fast. And that vaporization makes tiny particles of gold fall out of the water. And so you've got instant gold veins.
Well, and they're just appearing. So what, these earthquakes are potentially, providing sources of gold that can be extracted, or is there something different?
That is what might happen, is that we're getting more gold deposits where there are earthquakes. Earthquakes could be a natural mechanism for making more gold. However, more studies must be done. These are just initial results published in Nature Geoscience by a group of scientists, but it's kind of cool.
That is absolutely fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating.
A gold lining.
I'm coming back to, honestly, Dodie, this is like reaching way back to our first episode so long ago that we recorded live in San Diego.
Is this going to be about mushrooms?
Almost. Microbiome. So
another Connor favorite.
Please welcome back to the podcast, Microbiome. So I was reading on theconversation.com, fantastic resource. So I read an article there by Samuel White and Philippe Wilson, both from York St. John University, on the indoor microbiome. So the tragedy perhaps of modern life is that we spend, many of us, more than 90% or so of our lives indoors. And we're not just sharing our space with family or pets, as we all know, we're sharing it with millions of invisible microbes. House dust hosts 9,000 different species of microbes, and there's viruses and all sorts in that microbiome. So everybody's home has its own microbiome, just like our gut. And this indoor ecosystem affects everything from our respiratory health to our mental well-being. And surprisingly, everyday activities, cooking, cleaning, having pets, shape these microbial communities in our houses. And even building design and ventilation play key roles in the microbiomes, thriving or not. And it reminds me of an office I worked in a long time ago with a previous employer where there was a legend of spores in the ventilation, and that was creating sick building syndrome. But there's a twist here.
But it reminds me of, so before you get to the twist, this makes me think of my grandma's house. There was a smell to my grandma's house.
Of apple pie? Motherhood?
No, it just smelled like my grandma. Like, I can't even describe it, but it's probably a result of, yes, the way she cooked, the way she cleaned, the way, the way she did her laundry or the laundry soap she used. This combination made up the smell of my grandma, which is perhaps her indoor microbiome.
I'm sure it is, and it's very clear that people's houses have a particular smell. That's something that obviously marketers around the world are trying to extract people's money from them by telling them that their houses smell. But your house likely smells the way that your microbiome in that ecosystem smells. But there's a real twist here, which is that exposure to diverse microbes can actually boost your immune system and reduce the risk of allergies, autoimmune diseases, and so on. But if your house or your environment is poorly ventilated, if it's damp, they can actually harbour harmful pathogens and increase the risk of asthma, allergies, and even, believe it or not, respiratory viruses such as COVID-19. And then, of course, not just the physical health. There's research that shows that these microbes affect our mental health as well. So urban living, which limits our microbial exposure, and this obsession with being clean all the time, potentially contributes to mental health issues by disrupting our best friend, the gut-brain axis. So the question is, can we design buildings that foster healthy microbial communities? Can you imagine using natural materials, adding indoor plants and probiotic cleaning products to outcompete harmful bacteria in our living and working environments? And as we learn more, our homes could become active contributors to our health, not just shelters from the storm out there. And the real challenge, of course, is making these innovations real, bringing them to market and accessible to everyone. So I'm kind of blown away by the whole concept. It's not like your microbiome now, it's your macrobiome. It's all these lovely goody bacterias and viruses and things doing marvelous things for us as we go through our lives.
I mean, I have always thought that being outdoors boosts your immune system, but that's an interesting aspect to think that a mixed environment indoors would also boost your immune system. That's cool.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that this field is just progressing more and more and more as researchers lean in. So big thank you to Samuel White and Philippe Wilson at York St. John University. A great article.
The producer of Cytiva's own podcast, Discovery Matters, is Beth Armit Brewster. Editing, mixing, and supervision by Banda Productions, and music from Epidemic Sound. My name is Dodie Axelson.
And I'm Conor McKechnie. Make sure that you subscribe, rate us on Spotify or wherever you choose to get your podcasts. We'll be back soon with another episode of Discovery Matters.
Bye for now.